Hello and a warm welcome back to the garden. In this video I'm going to be potting on our cosmos seedlings and showing you how to pinch out the tips to get bushier plants. If you can remember back to our video back in March, we sown 4 different varieties of cosmos. Well, here they are at the moment. This is where we're up to with them. They have grown, germinated really well. And what I'm going to be doing today is just potting these into their individual containers. We chose to grow these in module trays, and the reason for that is the seeds were large enough to handle, which meant I could individually place one seed in each module of the tray. And also, when you do sow things in modules, it means you can give them a little bit longer in the growing space before you have to start messing with them and potting them on or pricking them out. So if these had been placed in a tray, if I'd have sown them in a normal tray and then covered them up with vermiculite like we normally do, we would have had to transplant these, or prick them out is the term, a lot sooner than what I'm doing now. They've had a much longer to grow in these modules, and I can see now that you've got really good root starting to come from these plants and starting to emerge out of the bottom of the wells. So the question is, when should plants get potted on when you grow them from seed? And for me there's 2 really main indicators, and that is when you have roots coming out the bottom, so you can see they're starting to fill their individual modules and they're running out of space because the roots are coming out the bottom of the tray. And probably the second best indicator is looking at the plants themselves and seeing if they're still progressing. Are they still growing? Are they still in active growth? Or have they kind of got to a point where they're just kind of in limbo and they're just staying at the size that they actually are now? And that can also indicate that the plants have run out of the nutrients in the cells, in the compost that was initially planted with them, and they need some additional nutrition to get them going a bit further. So in terms of that, it just means fresh compost with more nutrition inside it. I've seen a lot of videos with regards to when is the ideal to pot on seedlings, and I do believe that people do get quite hung up and make it far too complicated than what it needs to be. The fact is, when we can see that the plants really need it, in terms of the roots are coming out, you can see that they're becoming pot bound, and also when the plants are kind of like in that flux stage where they're not really growing much more, that's the really 2 indicators that I believe are the things you should be looking for as to when to pot on plants. People make it far too complicated, and I've even seen people that are saying there's a window, and if you miss that window between when you should be potting on, the plants are going to suffer. Now I just believe that's complete nonsense. The plants, even if you do leave them for a while before potting them on, they will make up for it. I've been looking at these seedlings for about maybe 2 weeks now, and they don't seem to progress that much within maybe definitely the last week. And I've been trying to get around to doing this, and you know, we're all busy. I usually come and check on the watering before work, so I'm in a rush to get out, or after work when I'm in a rush to get settled down for the evening and have dinner. So it's been on my list to do for a while, but plants will catch up. I'm going to do this potting on today and they will catch up. So even if I'd done it 2 weeks ago, you're not going to lose that much by leaving it a little bit later. These plants are inbuilt to survive, and survive they will. I've been growing seeds for probably around 30 years, so I've never really had a problem with timings of potting on them and that kind of thing. So I'm not going to overcomplicate it for this video. I'm just going to say, look at your plants. When you start to see the roots, when they start to slow down in growth, then is the ideal time to pot them on. So without further ado, let's get to the task at hand. So I've got some pots for these, and I'm going to fill these up with some multi-purpose compost. And what I'm going to do, I've already watered these because that does make it easier to get these plants out of the modules. And what I'm just going to do is just pop each one out by just pushing it a little bit. And what will be really handy is if I've got my little dibber, which is just over here, and I'm just going to use that just to anchor it out as well. So just like that, and then hopefully we should get a nice little plug or thereabouts. So you can see lots of nice roots. And what I'm going to do with this, and I'm going to plant it quite deep because we can put some of that stem underneath the soil. So in it goes, and that will just help to anchor the plant as well as it grows, because these will grow into quite big plants. And I'm just going to pot them round with some compost around the edges, and that is as simple as it needs to be. Now this one isn't ready yet for having its top pinched out, so I'm going to grow that on a little bit longer. So I'm going to put that to one side, and let's get on with the others. So some compost in the bottom. Now this first one I'm doing is Cosmos Mandarin. So if you can remember back, this is that lovely orange variety. And I'm just going to hold it by the leaves and not the stem, and just gently pull that out. As you can see, nice root ball there. Some more compost in there, and in it goes. So ideally we're looking for really 3 sets of leaves. You could do it perhaps on 2, but I like to do it when the plant has 3 sets of leaves, and then we can just nip out the top, and that will just make the side shoots start to grow. So that's got 1 set, 2 set, 3 set. So what I'm going to do here is just very carefully just nip out that very top bit, just with my finger and thumb, and out it comes. And what that will do is that will help to stimulate the side shoots where these leaf joints are. Each one of them will start to produce a new shoot. So instead of going upwards, the plant will then start to have these side shoots and start to bush out. And when we get these stems growing, those stems are going to form the flowers as well. So we're going to have many more stems that are going to have flowers on. And that's the reason why a lot of these plants we nip out the top. It just makes a lot more flowers to produce later on as the plant grows. I'll pop that in there so I don't forget which is which. So again, just hold it by its leaves, and out it comes. It does really help if you water it like I've done. It does kind of stay in a better root ball than if it's too dry. Give it a little bit of a firming down. So I can just see that it has 1 set, 2 set, 3 sets. So within the middle there, I'm just going to nip that out. And that's all we need to do. So let's get that pot partly filled. Let's get the next one out. And then let's get that planted in its new home. And if you can see, we have 1 set of leaves, 2 sets of leaves, 3 sets of leaves. So that very middle bit there, I'm just going to nip out, just using my finger and thumb. And that will just stimulate lots and lots of new growth on the sides of these leaves and make it a much bushier plant. So I've got tons of these to do. As you can see, there's 4 different varieties we're growing this year. And I've devised a plan this year. I've never tried this before, so we'll see how it goes on. Because we've got lots of different varieties, what I've decided to do is try and colour code. So if I just stick one of these on the label, so Cosmos Mandarin, it's got a nice orange sticker on it. And what I can do then is just pop an orange sticker on all of the pots that have got mandarin planted inside them. And this way, if they do get mixed up, because where we're growing them, you know, sometimes we're swapping things around and moving things to get more light. If they do get mixed up, at least we'll know that these ones belong to the orange spot, which when I look at the label, I know is Cosmos Mandarin. So I'm going to try that out. Hopefully when these get watered and everything and they start to get hardened off outside, these will still remain sticky. But the pack that I've got has got a multitude of different colours. I'll put a link to the pack that I've bought from Amazon in the description so you can have a look. They're not very expensive. So I've got the Xanthos, which is yellow, so I'm going to use a yellow sticker for that one. And I've got the double click cranberries, so I've got a red one somewhere for that. And then I've got the antiquity, which I'm going to use, perhaps just the purple one. So I'll be able to figure out which one's which. And I'm doing this as well with my tomato plants, because there's a multitude of different varieties we're growing for tomatoes, and any other plants that we're growing different varieties of the same plant, just so we don't get mixed up. Now if your plants are much larger than these, when you come to do the nipping out, what you can do is, if you do take the top, if it does have a little bit of stem with it as well, I mean these ones don't really have much stem with them, but if we're to let these grow a little bit longer, pop them up, let them grow a bit taller, and then wait for them to develop a bit more stem when we do the nipping out, what we can do, if you really want more plants, I mean cosmos is just wonderful plants, so you know, why wouldn't you? You can always put them either in water to root, or put them into some compost, some gritty compost, and just do a cutting from them. So I can't really show you any of these, but if you go back to one of our videos, which is top tips on how to grow cosmos, I'll just put the link to it in the description, and also up there as well, so you can have a look. And you can actually grow more plants just by using the tips. So if you don't want to waste anything, I do suggest you try that method as well, because it's really good for getting lots and lots more plants for complete free. I'm going to leave the video there because I've got lots and lots to do, and I'm sure you don't want to see me doing each and every single one of them. It's going to take me probably all afternoon. So thank you very much for watching. I do hope you found this video informative and enjoyable. Please give us a like, please subscribe, and if you do have any comments, please drop them in the comments box below the video. We'll see you very soon on the next video. In the meantime, please do take care.